Welcome to the Republic of Rugby as we look forward to the second round of Six Nations matches. I'm Tim and that is Jordan, and we are North and South. I'm in England, he's in South Africa. This is our united family of rugby that you are now part of, the Republic of Rugby. And if you are enjoying the content, if you're just finding the content and you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel right now. Drop a little thumbs up on the video, help the algorithm gods, and most importantly, get stuck in the comments down below because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to round 2 of the Six Nations. How are you enjoying the competition so far, Jordan? You taking a little bit more of an active role in watching all the games?
Look, I know I'm enjoying the competition when this week has felt like forever. I've just been waiting for the rugby to come back on. There's a couple of massive matchups this week. Italy to potentially topple Ireland. England, Scotland, France, Wales, which could be a cricket score. So no, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm loving, like I said in the previous podcast, learning all the players, learning all the names, how to pronounce the French names, which is quite new to me. So absolutely loving it. How are you feeling so far?
Well, yeah, I love that it's back. I'd be happier if it wasn't just absolutely hammering it down with rain constantly. It's just been miserable weather-wise, and that's affected some of the games. The one in Rome, for example. But it's some of the teams aren't. I prefer it when all the teams are cooking and playing really well. You want strength versus strength, and this is not the best version of the Welsh team. There seems to be problems in the camp for Scotland. There's rumours of a fallout between Blair Kinghorn and Gregor Townsend. Blair Kinghorn posted a picture on Instagram of him on a plane back to Toulouse before the team had been announced, which suggests he's maybe not happy that he's been left out of the 23. And there's a lot of debate in Ireland about where Andy Farrell is going and are they on the right direction and how much are they in decline and what the solutions are. So there feels like a little bit of flux.
No, it's very interesting, and I mean, it's all. There's quite a lot of drama this week around the Six Nations, and a couple of the headbutting incidences, and a couple of the calls from the refs, and Anton de Pont's whole thing with the salary cap. So it's almost turned into this beautiful little soap opera. I mean, people love watching a little bit of drama. That's why we love to watch those shows, and Six Nations is delivering.
What do you make of the Ellis Genge headbutt? I've had so many comments, and I know a lot of them are from folk in South Africa who feel like it was similar to Jasper Vissa against Italy, and I can see that. I'm for what it's worth, I don't buy into a conspiracy that South Africa get it worse than anyone else. That's just my view, but I can understand on this occasion why it might look at, and I know fans don't like it when it feels like there's inconsistency game to game. Did you think that any more should have happened? I didn't think it personally. I didn't think it was enough for a sighting, but maybe a yellow card on the day.
I mean, a headbutt is a headbutt. Head-to-head contact is a headbutt. I don't think Jasper Vissa's should have been an 8-week ban. I think they may have got the decision slightly wrong with Ellis Genge. Maybe yes, a yellow card, but they got the decision with Jasper Vissa completely off the mark.
Oh, I totally agree with you there. Totally agree.
So, I mean, all we ask is for consistency. So if you're going to give Jasper Vissa an 8-week ban, and it's unfortunate that it happened to a Springbok player because I think we are the more vocal of the supporter groups, I don't think we'd be hearing too much if it was Ellis Genge first and then Jasper Vissa, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you on both counts. I don't like calling that a headbutt because it feels like we're moving into football territory if you say that's a headbutt. It was stupid. And it was worth a penalty, probably a yellow card, just for being
a little kiss.
Yeah, but it's not like if Ellis Genge or Jasper Vissa, for that matter, headbutted anyone, they wouldn't. They wouldn't. Not only would they not be on their feet, they'd be in a hospital. So
that's how we say hello in South Africa.
They call it Scottish hello. That's the phrase we have up here.
Go. So
and
no,
it's
going
to be spicy in Edinburgh. Just move to that game then. What do you make of Gregor Townsend's team? I get the sense Scottish fans are really running out of patience.
I'm not sure because I probably haven't watched them enough. I still look at it and I think it's a pretty good team. There's a couple of changes, which I think you'll probably know a little bit more than me on, especially in the forward department. Ben White, Finn Russell, I don't mind as a combo in the 9-10 there. I would have loved to see George Horn starting. I just love his little firecracker. I would have loved to see him start. And against England with that rivalry, I think he would have really got under the English's skin. Like you say, Blair Kinghorn being out is a massive loss. And I think that's probably the biggest talking point from this. And then also no Edinburgh players starting in Edinburgh, which is, again, another massive call.
I don't know if that's happened in the professional era, that not a single Edinburgh player in the starting 15 for Scotland. We'd have to go some stat. Someone will be crunching the numbers and checking that, but I'm not sure that's ever happened. But that is interesting. I mean, Glasgow are doing very well in the URC. But one thing, Gregor Townsend seems to be persisting with a 5-3 split on the bench. And I do not understand it. He didn't play Adam Hastings at all as the replacement fly half off the bench. Tom Jordan, who's starting fullback, can play 10. I just don't get that, particularly when you're playing against England, who have the POM squad. And I think he's shooting himself in the foot.
I don't understand it, because you look at the best teams in the world, Springboks, France, even New Zealand have now sort of gone to a 6-2 split some of the time. There's a reason these are the best teams in the world. So why is he being so stubborn and not sort of following suit? This is clearly the path to go down if you want to be at the top of international rugby. We've seen England now do it with the POM squad. Springboks have been so successful. France have even gone to a 7-1 split. Why do you think he's still persisting, especially if it is going to be raining, especially if the weather is going to be crap? What do you think his reasoning is behind that?
I cannot make a good reason for it. Unless Finn Russell is carrying an injury and he thinks he's going to come off. But that's just, I cannot make a case for it. And every team that's been announced so far in the Six Nations, 5 out of the 6 of them that have been announced as we record this, all, except for Scotland, 6-2 splits. And he has got Jamie Dobie and Tom Jordan. I cannot understand it. It's almost like Gregor Townsend's given up, and of course this isn't the case, but given up and is just accepting, I'm gonna get binned off. Let's just speed up this process so I get my payoff and go on my way to Newcastle, where he'll have a job waiting for him. It's I mean, I will never, as an Englishman, I will never ever take this fixture for granted, because we've been beaten by Scotland too many times, and they raise their game, and Murrayfield's a tough place to go. The crowd raise it to another level for England. Flower Scotland a cappella is going to be incredible. And it
feels a little bit passive. Like, I think there would be a lot more respect from Scottish fans if he said, I mean, England are coming there on a 12-13 game win streak. Like, let's throw the kitchen sink at it. Let's go beat England at their own game. Put on a 7-1 split. I think people would have been more excited, more happier with a 7-1 split than sort of this passive 5-3 split. Finn Russell's going to play 80 minutes. If he's fit, he's going to play 80 minutes. So why underutilize that last spot on your bench? We've seen how important the bench is. We've seen the amount of impact they can make in the last 20 minutes. They can flip the game on its head. It just feels very passive to me, and like it's almost lying over and just accepting England are going to beat us.
Yeah, or obviously lots and lots of confidence in the guys he's picking. Maybe he's being stubborn. I don't know. I don't get it. If you can explain it, do in the comments. As for England, it's pretty much steady as you go. As you were, not a lot of changes. Finn Smith comes into the 23. A couple of players swapped from the bench to the starting lineup. Very Steve Borthwick, very settled. On we go. And I think what I want to see is looking back, watching the England game back again. They actually did. They kicked a lot and they played a very structured game, and that they'll pick up the 3 points. George Ford will sit back in the pocket and knock the drop goals over. But in the last 20 minutes, they tried and failed in a lot of cases to open up and score some tries. They didn't finish, but there was some signs of some pretty good attack developing. And that's what I want to see in the last 20 minutes. I think it'll be tight, and then I think if it clicks for England, 2-3 tries in the final 20 minutes. That's what
I think that was your big sort of gripe with them last week. Yeah, they won 48-7, I think it was. But like you say, in those last 20 minutes, there wasn't that killer instinct. They didn't step on Wales' throats. And even though you won by 7 tries or whatever it was, you almost felt a little bit disappointed afterwards. But like you say, I think England take a while to sort of get into their stride, and we say that they're on a 12-13 game win streak. So I think they are in their stride, and this might be the perfect opportunity against the wounded Scotland, maybe lacking a little bit of confidence, for them to really pack that punch. Yeah.
What do you make of Ireland then? Because very much like your team, South Africa, and Rassie Erasmus. Yes, he brings lots of young players in, uses 51 players, chops and changes. But when it comes to the absolute big matches, he goes back to his generals. He goes back to his main men. Andy Farrell just has missed out the bit where he gives loads of different players a try, and he's stuck with his generals. But now he has just flipped the script all of a sudden in a very un-Andy Farrell-like manner. What do you make of that?
Well, he's under pressure. Last week, they got well and truly trounced by France. I don't think there's another way to sort of describe it. I think the scoreline maybe flattered them a little bit. Again, France lacking that second half sort of step on their throat in the game, New Zealand-esque style of rugby. And I think he's kind of saying, look, we really don't have much to lose here. We're playing against Italy, who don't normally back up a big win with another good performance. So I think he's riding a little bit on Italy dropping in form a little bit. I like that he still backed Prendergast in the 10 jersey, because I didn't think he had not a massive impact last week. And I did criticize him in our episode saying that he never steps up to these big games. I think this is a big game for Ireland against Italy. If they get rolled over by Italy here, there's going to be massive warning signs. So I think it's almost showing a little bit of trust in the squad that he's built and the depth. If I look back at the Springboks, Rassie Erasmus, there's a few games where he's had to just trust that he's built a good squad here, and play these guys, get them caps. At the end of the day, if Ireland want to win a Rugby World Cup, if they want to make it past the quarterfinals, they're going to need a squad to do it, and they're going to need multiple big names to be able to do it. So I don't mind it at all. What's your sort of thinking going into this?
Yeah, I mean, his comments after the game were there was no fight and no intent, which that's pretty punchy from him. He usually keeps his cards close to his chest. And to drop Josh van der Fleer from the squad entirely, to drop Tyg Byrne and Jameson Gibson Park, two of their best players, or maybe their best forward and their best back, when you look over the years, to drop them both to the bench and to bring a couple of youngsters into the side, I think that's quite punchy from Andy Farrell, and I think it is a little bit of a rocket up the backside of the team. Like, no one's finally. I think it's felt for a few years now that actually there are some players who they're very, very good, but however they played, there's no other options, and they're the automatic selection, whatever the case is. And I think maybe it's actually shaking it up and going, no one is guaranteed, and maybe it's a shot across the bows to the whole team, which I think is where Ireland actually need to be. And the one comfort I would have if I was an Ireland fan, and the one thing I see from the outside, is they've never got past a World Cup quarter-final, and they've quite often looked incredible at this stage in a World Cup cycle. Maybe it's a good thing that Andy Farrell's having to really shake things up, move some pieces around, question some of his generals, and give opportunities to some of his young guys. And maybe I think it's probably necessary, probably a little bit overdue, but I don't think, I'll go back to what I said last week after the game in France. Ireland aren't as bad as a lot of people are saying, and I don't think they'll be as bad as they were last Thursday again.
That Northern Hemisphere perspective is interesting to me, because being a Springbok supporter, we've almost had to get used to Rassie Erasmus changing the entire team. Doesn't matter who we're playing. So it's almost become normal for us to kind of see the youngsters, or maybe not the first choice players, sort of step up. And it's often where Siya Kolisi, Eben Etzebeth, Handré Pollard are sort of playing off of the bench. And no one bats an eyelid. We're giving these guys opportunity because I think everyone understands the bigger picture here. We're going to try win the 2027 Rugby World Cup. And that's sort of the view and focus of not only the coaching staff, but the fans as well. And I think if you're an Irish supporter, this is a positive thing, because you don't want only 30 guys that ever play in the starting lineup. You need a squad of 40, sometimes 50 in the case of the Springboks, who can sort of still get you the results while you're rotating, while you're testing combinations. And I think we're still busy testing. We 12 months out of a World Cup, maybe then you sort of start to lock down your 33, 40-man squad. But I don't think it's a bad thing at all.
No, I agree with you. I think Ireland do have a smaller player pool, so maybe their group will never be as big as South Africa or France or England, let's say. But I do agree with you. I also think one of the North-South differences is it probably tells you about the Six Nations. the fact that that teams generally don't change as much and play as many players and chop and change. And look, I know the Rugby Championship is a big competition when it's played, and I know it is a big deal, but it isn't the be all and end all. It's not how fans, and quite rightly, they just focus on the World Cup, and the Rugby Championship is a step in that process. The Six Nations is a little bit different. It has been going for over 100 years, and it really, really matters. And look at France. They put everything on the Six Nations, and then they send their kids away in July and give their top players a rest because they've been playing a massively long club season. And then they just start to wind it up for November, and then they play their best rugby in February, March. And just to jump to France for a second, I think we're probably seeing a lot of people criticize France for that. Oh, they're undermining international competition. They're not taking it seriously. This is why they don't win World Cups. On the flip side, unlike Ireland, they have got loads of players that have tasted international rugby. And we're actually in the French team now, we're seeing the benefit of the last couple of years of players going and playing in New Zealand. We're really seeing some of those guys stepping up on the international stage.
I mean, how many, I don't know if you have the number, but how many changes have they made to this France lineup? Because I look at this lineup and I'm like, I don't know too many of these guys.
Well, no, one stat, actually, I did crunch the numbers myself, put it on a video on my channel, and 5 of those players were in the 5 of the starting lineup, I think it is, or is it in the 23? One or the other were in the side that played against South Africa in November. Only 5.
Wow.
So it's changed a lot. As for game to game, only 2 changes to the starting 15, the 2 centres. So you've got Deporter and Moefana, the 2 Bordeaux centres. They're both injured, short-term injuries. And the goal. You right?
I'm busy looking at the under 20 France lineup. We can keep
there you go. That'll be why you don't. Well, yeah. I mean, some of those players could probably. Well, I mean, they'd be good. They'd beat Wales as well. Yeah.
To be fair, that team probably could beat Wales.
Well, and a load of their players are not some of the guys that are in this team were in the under 20s last year. To the point. So they've only made a couple of changes in the starting 15, but the 2 Bordeaux centres are out. Calvin Gorg, who's 20 and plays for Toulouse, he's out injured as well. So 3 centres are out injured, and they bring in 2 incredible players. Fabien Brobory, who's 20, 6'3", 100 kilos, scored 9 tries in 20 matches in the top 14 this season. Gaeton, who's also at Pau, and a lad on the bench who's 6'4", 110 kgs, rapid, 7 tries in 10 starts, Noah Nene. It's like South Africa and France. This is part of the reason why I say they're the 2 best teams, not just because they have elite talents in key positions, but they've got just this production line of talent that just keeps churning these players out. It's amazing.
Did you expect more changes for playing against Wales?
Maybe 1 or 2, but actually no, because of the point I just made that most of this team is different from November. So the churn has happened and the change has happened, and this is a little bit of a revolution for France. And Fabien Galtier has not just changed the players, lots of youngsters, he has changed the tactics as well.
Yeah, we spoke a little bit about how good they were in the air last week against Ireland. And I was watching a podcast with Eddie Jones where he was kind of breaking down why teams kick and what the stats are behind that, and potentially changing the law around up and unders and box kicks and how you can compete in the air. And he kind of said that if you put an up and under up, the catcher has a 30% chance of retaining that possession. So if you just look at the underlying stats of why the Springboks kick so much, why France kick so much, and therefore dominated Ireland, because they're winning those collisions in the air, the stats say 70% of the time you should be getting the ball back or have a chance of getting the ball back. So when you look deeper at the Pinot conversation, it's really a non-starter.
Well, and also from South Africa's perspective, you could probably come up with a statistic for how likely it is that there's a scrum from a knock-on, which is not a bad way to restart if you're South Africa, is it? So,
but for France as well,
100% for France as well. And I do I do wonder if there will be a shift or a change. It's really interesting watching that Rassi Plus documentary where they go into great depth on this and talk about how this is upholding the principle of a contest, and that's what's at the heart of rugby. And I'm sympathetic to that, and I find it interesting because when the ball gets knocked down, the defenses aren't organised, and that's where you see guys like Louis Bielbiere, Cheslin Colby just tear it up, and that's quite fun to watch. But I do wonder if every team's doing this all the time and getting really good at it, will they then start cancelling each other out? Personally, I would leave it alone and let the coaches and the players work out what the way to get around it is, rather than trying to meddle with the laws, because usually you end up making it worse in a different way.
So what's the 1% chance that Wales win this game? How on earth do they get a foot in the door? Make France stress a little bit.
Okay, if they bribe the French chef to poison the team. There you go, that's the 1% chance.
So you say no dice, not at all, no chance.
I just cannot see it. I cannot see it. The pack is unchanged for France, and they bullied Ireland. And France had no. Wales had no. They couldn't get parity with England. I cannot see it. They got absolutely panned by South Africa at home. They got pumped by England, who should have won by more. They're gonna get smashed.
70, 80 points.
If they can keep it under 50 again, that's probably a result. And how bad is that? How bad is it to be talking about Wales like that? And again, much like exactly the way you describe Scotland fans would just want to, come on, just do something to go for a 7-1. Just put George Horn in. Just do something, Gregor. Come on, just do something. We don't mind losing, but just go down swinging. Don't go down on your knees. But it's the same with Wales, I think. There's a lot of Wales fans looking at selections, looking at the way they're playing and going, I can deal with losing, but it's how you lose, and just have a go. And they've got to show more than they did against England. And there's apparently at the minute something like between 15 and 20,000 tickets unsold for the match.
At the Principality?
Yeah.
That's unheard of.
It's mad. Well, that's what you'd get if they were playing Fiji or Georgia or something like that. Not France in the Six Nations.
In the Six Nations. Yo, that's scary.
It's crazy.
Talking about losing, do you think Italy have a shot against Ireland and rolling one over, going second, third of the Six Nations and really causing a massive, massive upset here?
Yes, they have a chance. I think that they're likely to beat Wales, which means they'll have their 2 wins. They've never, ever got 3 wins in the Six Nations. I think even though they're away from home, this is probably the most, you would think it's the most likely, because Ireland have made some changes. They're clearly not got their mojo. I think Ireland are going to have a reaction, though. I just can't believe that the talent of players that Ireland have are going to be that bad again. But Italy are really tough to beat. Like, they only had 35% possession against Scotland. They made over 250 tackles. They just had heart. But I think you play that game last week 10 times, and I think Scotland probably win 7 of them.
Yeah. And I mean, this game against Ireland, this game, I mean, Italy probably have a 1 in 10 chance of winning this. But if they get off to a hot start, if their defense is solid, I mean, Italy's all about heart, about passion. If they can start putting that Irish team under a little bit of pressure, I mean, Ireland are coming in with all the pressure. They need to perform. Italy are coming off a big win, don't need to perform. I could see Italy being up at halftime and then just defending for their lives in that second half, and potentially, I'd love it. I would love it.
I think most people would who weren't Irish. Everyone loves an underdog story, and that would be a proper scalp and a big story. The opportunities there. Italy's issue's always been being consistent, isn't it? That's what, you know. It's the cliche that everyone says. They'll be brilliant one week and then get pumped the next. So they've got to back it up. They seem to have something going. They just work so hard. They don't rely on individual talent. They're they're a proper rugby team, and you know, Rassi Erasmus pointed that out. He predicted that they'd do really well in the Six Nations, and I think he saw that. Like that's the difference under Gonzalo Quesada. They're a proper rugby team. They're not just relying on Menoncello and some magic moments from some of the guys. It's a shame they're without Ignacio Brex. So one half of their centre pairings there, not there. But they've got a chance. They've 100% got a chance. I think it's going to be an Ireland win, maybe by a couple of scores. But like you, I really, really hope it's tight.
Let's get predictions. We'll end with the big one. We'll start France Wales. I'll go France by 68.
Yeah, France by 50.
Comfortable. I'm actually going to go for the upset here. Italy by 2. Just because I love it. I want it.
Ireland by 12.
By 12. Okay. A loser has to do something. We'll figure out a forfeit. And then the big one, Tim. England, Scotland, or Scotland, England.
The oldest international fixture of them all. 1871 the first time. Here we are in 2026. And England have to win. England have to win. It's not just that I think they're going to win. England have to win. All of the things that people are saying about England, all of the progress they've been making, if they cannot beat ranked 10 in the world, even if it's in Murrayfield, and as tough as that is for England teams to go to, then they're not progressing. England have to win, and I want them to feel that pressure, that burden of having to win, because that is what winning Rugby World Cups, that's what going deep in World Cups demands, and they have to beat Scotland if they really want to be taken seriously. And so, yeah, I think England are going to win, and I think it's going to be tight until 55, 60 minutes, and then maybe like Argentina and New Zealand, I think England's POM squad will blow Scotland away and score 2 or 3 tries in the last 20 and win by 10. 2 scores. Yeah.
I was going to go Scotland, but I don't think I can do that to you. I'm going to go England by 7.
You say what you think's going to happen.
I'll
enjoy you being wrong on Sunday morning.
No, I love Scotland, and I would normally back them, but I think England's just far too good at the moment. I think the passive nature of the Scottish team, the bench is going to make a massive difference, and like you say, it's going to be close. And then Henry Pollock's going to come on and turn that house upside down. Right.
Pollock, who's half Scottish.
Really?
Or his parts, maybe one of his grandparents is Scottish. There's 5 of the England team are half or quarter Scottish. So, yeah.
So that crowd's going to give Pollock some shit.
Yeah. I mean, every crowd's going to give Pollock some shit. That's just the rules. Pollock deserves crowds giving him shit. He'll dish it. He'll dish it out, and he'll take it.
Wait for the 4th of July. Bring it on.
Bring it on. I can't wait for the 4th of July. I'm scared and excited in equal measure. It's going to be amazing.
But thank you very much. Let's hope this is another good season. I'm going to have to watch the under 20 French side now that I've mistakenly looked at their lineup.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of the under 20s so far, but the under 20s Six Nations is going as well. So if you want to see the next gen superstars, keep your eye on that. Most importantly, keep your eye on this channel, and if you haven't already, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.